And next up, we have Jonathan.
Hey guys, so thank you very much for having me. I hope that you guys don't mind that this is going to be a less technical presentation. Um, what I would like to show you guys is how I have sped up the process of contract review and understanding the psychology of the people I am negotiating with using ChatGPT. Um, Please don't hold it against me. I am a trained lawyer. I am trying to break the habit, and I have been clean from litigation and from courtrooms for over 2 years. But it is a hard habit to break. So what I did is I created a small project in ChatGPT in which I told ChatGPT, "You are my most trusted legal advisor. You're experienced, knowledgeable, and have my best interests in mind. And you never give me the answers I want to hear, but always the answers I need to hear. And you always reflect the situation in a realistic and balanced perspective." This is important because when you ask ChatGPT to give you the pros and cons of a contract and you don't tell him to be objective, you are going to get a laundry list of things that are absolutely correct, absolutely logical, and will absolutely get rejected by any opposing counsel that reads them. Because you need to tell ChatGPT that you have to be balanced in your comments. So what I did is, given this instructions, I uploaded a template of a contract. Gadi, please don't kill me. I used one of our old ones. And we've changed it since. It's not the contract we currently use. And what I told him is use the general prompt that you would expect your users to do, which is, please highlight the pros and cons of the agreement I have attached to this project. And I, as expected, received a laundry list, which is what are the good things, what are the bad things. And you can read through this if you'd like. You get a summary, which tells you absolutely nothing. Why does this tell you absolutely nothing? Because it gives you a map of the good things and the bad things, but it doesn't give you any actionable items on this. So what I did is I changed the way I talked to ChatGPT, and I tell them, please read the contract I've attached and tell me what Gnostic, which is the other party in this example, is afraid of and how I can negotiate around it. And the reason I'm telling them ChatGPT to do this is because of how contracts are phrased and how they work. Generally speaking, especially when you're engaging with enterprises, if a contract has more than 3, 4, or 5 clauses dealing with a single issue, it means that company has been burnt in the past. If they've been burnt in the past, they're afraid of getting burnt again, which means they're going to be adding additional protections over additional protections over additional protections over additional protections. If you understand that, you know how to negotiate, which is why I don't tell ChatGPT to tell me what are the good things and the bad things of a contract. I don't tell ChatGPT to tell me what's the industry standard. I ask it to tell me where the other side has been burned, because that strengthens my negotiation position. So, for example, I can see that in the past we have been afraid of a misclassification of a contractor as an employee, which means the fear here is there is a regulatory enforcement action against us and we need to pay more than we need to, which means our leverage is that we either soften the indemnity clause or delete it or cap it to a fixed amount, which means when I'm negotiating, I know what tactic to employ. Same goes for intellectual property ownership and all of the laundry list items that I got from the previous prompt. All of a sudden now I have an actionable strategy as to which I can take and approach into the negotiating table and tell them, listen, I understand that you guys are afraid of this, this, and that. Here's how I am going to be addressing those concerns. Now, can we please adjust the language? Once you understand the psychology of the people that you're negotiating with, it makes it significantly easier to convince the other side to accept your position. And just in case you're thinking that this has to be an issue of interpretation, interpretation is the correct word. Contracts are a language, much like programming is a language. There are certain loaded terms and there are certain accepted conventions. But what you understand to be the contract doesn't necessarily mean that the other side understands to be the contract, which is why if you get a contract in legalese, and you want to understand it in a language that you understand, what you can also do is ask ChatGPT to translate it to you. And in this example, what I did is I wanted to make sure that somebody who is a Gen Z could understand this, or rather a Gen Alpha could understand what they're getting into. And this is admittedly playing around a bit with how a contract would be rephrased or re-understood. But it is important that this is how your other parties are going to be reading contracts. And if this is the summary that they're going to be getting, if you don't understand what the other side is reading, and the other side is going to be using ChatGPT, you're not doing your negotiations correctly. That's it.
Thank you, Jonathan. We heard some people in the crowd saying that they're going to share this with their own lawyers. And Chris really liked using semantics. So thank you very much.